rep ranges, they matter a lot. But you can do a plethora of rep ranges and not build any muscle. And you can do little rep ranges and not build any muscle. And what do I mean by that? Let's say you, in all your wisdom, decide I'm gonna curl some weight, and you get a dumbbell that's 5 pounds. You can do 100 reps, right? Especially if your shoulder allows you to, where your bicep and your elbow allow you to. If the elbow doesn't give out from overuser, right? From overusing it, the bicep might get a pump, but are you doing enough micro tears to cause growth? Let's say you get a dumbbell and it's 30 pounds and you can barely curl the 25s for fives, but then you get the 30-pound dumbbell and you say, I'm gonna curl with 30 pounds, and you curl it, but you're using a lot of momentum, and you get it like 3 times. Did you do enough damage to the muscle to cause growth? Answer to both is probably no. You had more muscles come into play with the heavier weight, so you took a lot of load off the bicep with the 30-pound dumbbell. And the 5 pound dumbbell weight was so light, your elbow joints probably got tired and gave out before the muscle would have given out. So rep ranges matter. The amount of weight you use matter. So anytime I lift, I look at what I'm working on that day, right? How I'm lifting. Okay. The way I do things is if it's a compound lift, I tend to have my sets and rep ranges lower because it's a compound lift. It's going to bring in more muscles for me to move the weight. If it's not a compound lift, but it's a isolateral lift, right, or unilateral, means I can do both sides independently of one another. Then I tend to lower the weight because now instead of my hands being on one bar or the bar being hoisted on my back for a squat or my arms holding on to a bar with a deadlift or overhand press, since both hands are not on the same entity, this on a different entity, now what I can do is focus on the individual arm itself or the individual leg. If I'm doing leg extensions or leg curls, that's isolateral or unilateral, however you want to look at it, right? So if I'm targeting the bicep or the tricep or the quad or the hamstring individually, I tend to lower the weight, up the sets, and I up the reps. And when it comes to compounds, I lower the sets because I'm already going to increase the weight and I lower the reps. So for squat, deadlift, bench, overhead press with the bar, and curling with an easy bar or a straight bar. Okay. You want to always keep your sets around 3 sets, somewhere between 8 and 12 reps. I tend to do 8, but you shouldn't be going past 12 reps. That's just that's a lot of repetition with a compound lift. You're gonna be tired longer, especially if the weight is pretty high. Okay. If you're doing 8, the weight should be moderately heavy. If you're doing 12, it's gonna be moderately light. Moderately light. So you gotta look at if it's 190 pounds, that's moderately heavy for me. If it's 170 pounds, that's moderately light. So I can do a little bit more, right? If I'm doing squats, deadlift, or bench press compound lifts, that's how I tend to structure my sets. If I'm doing leg extension, leg curls, unilateral, isolateral, both sides doing their own fucking thing, it's always 5 sets for me, right? And I always, if I'm doing 100 on this side, I'm doing 100 on this side, right? But I'm shooting for, I'm talking about pressing. Curling, it might be 30, 35, 40-pound dumbbells. But I'm normally shooting for, well, I ain't gonna 40-pound dumbbells, a little bit too heavy. But I'm shooting for 10 to 15 reps. In some cases, 15 to 20, depending on if I just want to tire out the biceps or the triceps, okay, and the quads and the hamstrings. So, but it's always 5 sets. You can get away with 2 more extra sets because you're isolating the muscle. And believe it or not, when you isolate the muscle, other muscles not firing, it allows you, because you can't go that heavy, to do more weight. I mean, well, more reps and more sets. So I don't care if you're doing rows, if you're doing cable rows, since you're on machine, the back can take some abuse. You want to try to do at least 15 to 20 reps, depending on the weight, for at least 3 sets. If it's a T-bar, chest assisted row, same thing. You got both hands on it, so it's more of a compound mover at that point. But you still do 3 sets, and I was try for 8 to 12 reps. If you're doing dumbbell rows, you can get away, or one on the machine rows, you can get away with five sets, 15 to 20 reps, right? Because the back can take a beating pretty good. So just look at the muscle, look at if you're doing compound or isolateral lifts, and then decide your rep ranges. And I wouldn't hit those muscle groups no more than 2 to 3 times a week, unless you're trying to really build it. If you're trying to build a particular muscle, and there are multiple ways to do this, but if you're trying to build a muscle in itself, you can do one week where you can hit it like 4 times that week, and then let that second week you don't touch it. Just that following week, don't touch it at all. Give that muscle that whole week off, and then work on another muscle for that week, right? And then the following week you give that muscle off, okay? And you keep going. Now you be like, well, that leaves a lot of muscles out there. Oh no, you can still hit them same muscle groups, but if you're trying to build the bicep, make sure you hit it 4 times that week, and then the following week don't touch it. You can still work on anything else, but if you want to just focus on your chest for the following week, then hit the chest every day, but just don't touch that bicep while you're working on that chest. You see what I'm getting at? You can do all the other muscles, but make sure you hit your chest 4 times that week. The other muscle, you hit them twice, hit the chest 4 times. You can alternate if you just want to focus on building that muscle. But at that time, you want to stretch out your sets. If you're gonna hit 4 times that week, 15 sets should be good enough. 12 to 15 sets, and you want to keep it roughly between 8 and 15 reps on average. 3 sets per day for the arms or the chest or whatever you're trying to target for that week. But give it a week off, and then pick another body part that's lagging, work on that one for a week, and then the other muscle groups, just hit them twice a week. That's how you build a physique. And understanding rep ranges, it will do that. Understanding exercises will do that. You can't just go to a gym and try to do all that cumulative volume um, for every body part. I used to work like that, and you will get neurologically drained out. Listen, my body felt like jello last week doing those 3 hour sessions. Instead of easing back into it, I rushed back into it after taking roughly about 10 to 12 days off because I was doing a lot of travel. Got back to the gym, and it takes time for the body to acclimate to new tissue. The nerves have to acclimate, and really it takes about 6 months for neurological musculature adaptation to happen. That means the nervous system and the nerves them really honed in on that new tissue, and it made it its own tissue, if that makes sense. Like you can command the tissue better. Okay. So when you go back to the gym after taking 10 days off and the body's been growing, it's been adapting, and you go to the gym and you decide, oh, I'm gonna fucking just go balls to wall. I did like 8 different upper body movements on Monday. Tuesday, I thrashed my lower body. Straight up just killed it with hat squats, pause reps, all types of shit. And then I did extreme, not extreme cardio, but I did like a 2 minute, not 2 minute, 15-minute, 2 mile, level 7 elliptical session. Did 2 miles after doing hat squats, right? Which is not fun with 3 plates with pause reps with 3 sets on the machine. Okay. Followed by leg extensions and leg curls, and then went and did elliptical. Wednesday, right? I just did cardio. I just did basic cardio here at the house. Thursday, I felt like shit. Trying to cut the grass Wednesday was no go. Thursday, I was just out of it Thursday. My entire body felt like jello. And I wasn't eating enough. I thought I was, but I wasn't. All the new muscle tissue needed glucose back in. It need glycogen. I mean, not glucose, glycogen. It need to restore itself, replenish itself. So I had to get my hydration back right, start back eating, and just rest. And I got better. Monday, workout was awesome. Tuesday, workout was awesome. I took Wednesday and today off. Tomorrow, 'cause I've been doing full body Mondays and Tuesdays. Tomorrow I'm going again. I'm not going too heavy, but I can tell I got stronger. But you don't want to go in there and do a lot of volume and try to do that every day. And you're not eating enough, you're not sleeping enough, you're not staying hydrated enough because you're just gonna have a bad time. And your nervous system is gonna take a break. Like it's going to take a break. You're not gonna have no energy. You want to do shit. So that's why rep ranges matter. That's why sets matter. That's why volume is a thing. Hypertrophy is the byproduct of mechanical tension, right? That's building the muscle, right? By just doing sets and reps and creating the mechanical tension, which is volume, which leads to hypertrophy. Okay, resistance training, progressive overload, but the mechanical tension is the main one with sets and reps and the volume in itself that builds muscle. And then the rep range within the particular weight that you're using, as well as your diet, rest, and the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. You want the sympathetic firing when you're training, parasympathetic firing when you're not training, and you will see growth. I hope this helps. This has been your protein training support Matner. I'll be back again sometime this week with another fitness video. Might be doing some reactions to some fitness influencers in the sphere, seeing if their workout is worth a hoo-ha. But other than that, I hope these videos have been helping you. Until then, you guys stay safe, and I'm out, everyone. Peace.